The story of the Spirit of St. Louis begins in the mid-1920s, when aviation was still a young dream for humankind. In an era of pioneering flights and daring pilots, one ambitious challenge stood out: the first solo, non-stop flight across the Atlantic Ocean. American airmail pilot Charles A. Lindbergh answered that call. He worked with the Ryan Airlines Company in San Diego, where designers and mechanics built a custom monoplane, officially the Ryan NYP, New York to Paris, with just one seat, one engine, and a fuel load sufficient for the nearly 3,600-mile journey from Long Island to Paris. What made the Spirit of St. Louis remarkable wasn't just the distance, but the design to achieve the range required. The aircraft carried a massive fuel tank in front of the pilot's cockpit. This forward placement meant no forward windshield. Instead, Lindbergh used side windows and a periscope to see ahead. The plane had a high wing, a single Wright Whirlwind radial engine rated at around 223 horsepower, and a gross weight far greater than earlier planes of its size. Every pound mattered, and excess equipment was stripped away. The pilot's cockpit was Spartan, without a radio or forward view, but designed for endurance, lightweight, and simplicity. On the morning of May 20, 1927, Lindbergh climbed aboard the Spirit of St. Louis at Roosevelt Field in Long Island, New York. With few comforts, heavy fuel, and months of preparation behind him, he took off into the dawn for what would become a 33-and-a-half-hour flight over open ocean, mountains, night skies, and storms. For much of the flight, he flew alone. No sleep, no chatting, no navigation radios. Just him, his plane, and the Atlantic beneath. Finally, on May 21st, he landed at Le Bourget Field near Paris, France, becoming the first person to cross the Atlantic non-stop and solo. The world watched in awe. After the historic crossing, the Spirit of St. Louis became a traveling ambassador of aviation. Lindbergh took it on tours across the United States and abroad, public demonstrations, air shows, and exhibitions that inspired millions. The airplane and its pilot became celebrities in a moment of cultural transformation. Flight had moved from daring novelty to monumental possibility. Among the fun facts, the aircraft's name honored the city of St. Louis, Missouri, where Lindbergh's financial backers and supporters were located. Though designed for long-distance flight, its cruising speed was modest by modern standards, around 100 miles per hour, with a wingspan of about 46 feet. Because the fuel tank blocked the foreview, Lindbergh used a periscope and side windows for forward visibility, an unusual arrangement for an airplane. The aircraft's registration was N-X-211, the X indicating experimental status, since the craft was built rapidly for a specific prize, the Orteig prize of $25,000 for the first non-stop flight from New York to Paris. Today, the original Spirit of St. Louis is preserved at the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C., hanging as a tribute to that moment when a lone man and a daring machine pointed toward the future of aviation. Every time we board a commercial jet, watch a drone fly, or imagine space travel, we stand on the shoulders of that special flight in 1927. This is a story of vision, ingenuity, endurance, and the Spirit of St. Louis. Thanks for watching Aviation Wrap, where we unwrap the stories that shaped the skies. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode. Join us next time as we soar into another chapter of aviation history.